The scene shifts to the next day, and Lam Trak is walking with Salvo. He remarks, "Salvo, you've really made a name for yourself now. The whole group of former students has even proposed putting you on the alumni ranking board." Salvo, nonchalantly slipping his hands into his pockets as he walks, responds, "It's just a minor disagreement, a trivial matter. Don't pay too much attention to it. It's not a big deal." Upon hearing Salvo's response, the chubby Lam Trak couldn't help but chuckle. "Salvo, you're truly modest and admirable. What kind of person are you, hee hee. By the way, today we have to choose our majors, and Salvo, have you decided on the type of cold weapon you want to specialize in? I'd like to follow your choice when the time comes." As the chubby guy, Lam Trak, poses this question, Salvo immediately stops in his tracks. The surroundings suddenly become silent, as if freezing in response to Salvo. Salvo raises his hand, resting his chin in thought for a while, then says, "I think I'll go with the spear." The chubby guy eagerly awaits Salvo's response and, upon hearing it, is delighted as if he just won the lottery. "Really? The spear is also my #1 choice. There's something about the feeling of lightness with the spear. It still has powerful and cool strength." Salvo continues walking and says, "So, you're really planning to follow me, huh? It's fine, but the possibility is that you won't be able to meet me often." Upon hearing this, the chubby guy Lam Trak is startled. "Huh? What do you mean?" Salvo doesn't answer and keeps walking. Seeing this, the chubby guy doesn't dare to ask further and just runs after Salvo. The scene shifts to the martial arts class. As it's the first session, the students have arrived early and taken their seats. The cool guy with hands in his pockets confidently strides in, capturing the attention of everyone in the room. The whole group breaks into a cold sweat, and soon the murmurs fill the room. "That's a monster. Don't be foolish enough to mess with him." Hoak Dong sits with his head bowed, shivering, contemplating. Since that day, the sense of helplessness and desperation, unable to resist even a bit, has haunted him. He has continuously dreamed for several nights of being submerged in a water tank, water relentlessly rising on all sides, unable to do anything, only succumbing gradually to the cold and despair. Then, he startles awake each time. Is ISO Dragon, the top student, really that terrifying? No, the real terror isn't the title of ISO Dragon, it's him, Salvo. Suddenly, from outside the classroom, a clattering sound resonates as a teacher with long, blonde hair and a voluptuous figure enters. She introduces herself. "I specialize in researching exotic creatures. And my name is Tuyet Nhi." The robust echoes of her high-heeled red shoes reverberate with each confident step, emphasizing her short dress and endlessly long, mosquito bite-free legs that captivate the male student's attention. Continuing, she says, "Before you begin your 4-year martial arts training at the university, I need to explain why we practice martial arts and choose cold weapons instead of relying on the hot weaponry technology that humans have had for a long time." The teacher used a stick to hit the screen and said, "Please take a look at this." The displayed image showed a person using various types of hot weapons, such as continuous machine gun fire, directed towards a group of strange creatures. However, it seemed that the bullets couldn't penetrate their thick skin. The teacher continued to explain, "Because the original heat-based weapons of humans are highly ineffective against these creatures." The image showed bullets being flattened upon contact with the incredibly tough skin of the creatures. Curious, the students exclaimed in unison, "Why is that?" At this moment, the chubby guy, also known as Lam Trak, spoke up. "Since I was little, my dad taught me that only martial arts could resist creatures like these. But he never mentioned this." "Why is that?" Hearing Lam Trak's question, Salvo's eyes, sharp and cold, silently pondered in his mind. "Because of the rules." Just as Salvo was thinking this, the teacher's voice echoed, "Because of the rules. Humans have been fighting against these creatures for over 300 years. And research into the origin of these creatures has never ceased. Though there is no definitive answer, one thing is certain. These creatures come from another world." The teacher poked the stick into her chest and confidently continued, "So, it's not that we choose martial arts choose us. To survive the invasion of these creatures, we can only rely on the power of martial arts. Now, I also want to poke the stick into that spot, haha." Unexpectedly, a female student raised her hand and asked, "If our heat weapons are affected by the rules of the other world, and the creatures still enter our world with such strength, why aren't they affected at all? Why are they still so powerful?" The teacher took a few steps forward and said, "Your question is excellent, but unfortunately, I don't have an answer to your curiosity. I also want to know the answer or maybe a solution right in front of us. It's just that we don't want to face it. The voice of the female student echoed again. Huh? What do you mean, ma'am? Can you simplify it a bit? Salvo spoke up at this point, while the guy next to him widened his eyes to listen. Because those creatures have already been influenced by the rules. They were much stronger initially. Upon hearing Salvo's answer, the teacher stood still for 3 seconds. Then adjusted her glasses to get a clearer view of which male student possessed such a strong foundational knowledge. Looking at Salvo, the teacher praised, "You, young man, also figured it out, quite impressive. However, I can only make educated guesses." The group of male students below reacted animatedly to the teacher's response. "It can't be. That's truly unfair. Right or wrong, it's just unfair. But in this world, there are many things that are not fair at all. This is the lesson I want to teach you today. Thank you for paying attention. Now, it's time to dismiss." As the teacher finished speaking, she turned and left, leaving the male students feeling regretful. There was no official answer to the girl's question yet, and they were disappointed. With much more disappointment directed towards the teacher's departing figure, chubby lamb track, unable to believe in the initial power of the creatures, exclaimed, "What the heck? These creatures have weakened, yet they still remain incredibly powerful. Does that mean our future is doomed?" Hearing this, Salvo pondered, the future of humanity 1,000 years from now is indeed doomed. Even if we have a resourceful arsenal, it's impossible to deal with these creatures using the martial arts of the last 300 years. The path ahead may be considered futile. What we can do is continuously improve ourselves to find hope for survival, step by step. After the class was dismissed, Salvo and Lamb Track walked outside, where they encountered a teacher holding a stack of papers. The teacher handed each of them a sheet and said, "Consolidate the records for the next 3 days and submit them to me. Now, you can attend different cold weapons training classes based on your preferences." Salvo turned to Lamb Track and said, "Let's go, we're heading to the spear technique class." The chubby guy clenched his fist excitedly and exclaimed, "Yes, boss. We're going to the spear class." Right after that, a guy pointed and spoke loudly, "I heard that." Spear. Salvo chose spear. He then warned, "Pay attention, absolutely do not choose spear technique as your specialization, definitely don't choose that." Hearing this, the others broke into a cold sweat, feeling a shiver down their spines. One of them muttered, "Damn it, I have to change my weapon class right away. I don't want to face Salvo on the same arena." Transitioning to the spear class, when Salvo and Lamb Track entered, the group of male students buzzed with discussions. "It's Salvo. I didn't expect him to choose spear technique." Some naive individuals asked, "Who is Salvo? Haven't you read the article on the school's page? Isn't he the legendary ISO dragon, the top student this year, the strongest newcomer?" On the stage, a teacher holding a spear said, "Okay. Now you can leave if you want or stay for additional practice." Suddenly, the teacher's gaze swept across the room, and she exclaimed, "Huh? There are only 2 new students in the class?" The male students were taken aback by this revelation. The teacher pointed towards Salvo and said, "Both of you, come up here. I'm Lu Niu Khan, the theory and practical instructor for spear technique from the first to the 3rd year. Today, only 2 of you showed up? Well, that's fine. Both of you, take a spear and attack me one by one. Let me see your skills and temperament." Salvo looked at the teacher and thought silently, this female teacher is filled with vigor. Still at the peak of the 6th martial arts realm. The teacher also looked at Salvo and thought, "Is this the kid who has been causing a stir lately, Salvo?" Immediately, she swiftly swung the spear down towards a young man. Salvo quickly intercepted it, then used his strength to twist and took the spear from the teacher's hand. The teacher commented, "Not bad." Salvo, maintaining his composure, responded, "Then I won't be polite. Be careful." The teacher immediately grabbed another spear, thinking to herself, "He warns me to be careful. Even though I haven't reached the level of a grandmaster, I've been studying spear technique for decades. Even facing a grandmaster, I wouldn't lose. A newcomer who has been studying for just a few days dares to tell me to be careful." Before the teacher could finish her train of thought, suddenly, Salvo's massive spear, from a distance, thrust towards her. She stood frozen, silent, in front of the gigantic and immensely powerful spear of Salvo. The sensation was that of impending doom. I'm delighted to participate with all of you in this story. While waiting for the new episode, enjoy other interesting stories on my channel. Don't forget to support by liking, subscribing, and leaving feedback. Thank you all very much.